We're going to go into the security area of San Quentin. In the unlikely event that you're taken hostage while you're inside the prison, the state of California will not negotiate your release for an inmate's release.
Can you trust anyone? Can you even survive the yard without getting stabbed? San Quentin isn't just a prison, it's where California's most dangerous killers wait to die, and where 600 stabbings happen every single year. Welcome to hell. The moment you step off that prison bus, your old life ends. Guards scream in your face while chains rattle around your ankles. You're herded like cattle through metal detectors that shriek at every piece of jewelry or belt buckle. Then comes the strip search, complete humiliation in front of strangers who've seen it all before. They photograph you like a corpse, fingerprint you like evidence, and hand you rough blue clothes that mark you as fresh meat. That uniform isn't protection. It's a neon sign telling 3,700 inmates there's new prey on the block. Your cell assignment gets shouted, not spoken. 4 feet by 10 feet of concrete and steel, that'll be your entire world if you're lucky enough to survive. Walking to that cell feels like marching to your execution. Every step echoes off walls that have absorbed 170 years of screams. Rows of cells stretch endlessly, and behind every bar, eyes track your movement. They're not just watching, they're calculating. Is this guy weak? Can we use him? Will he fight back? One wrong look, one nervous twitch, and you've already made enemies before unpacking your single allowed blanket. The metal door slams behind you with finality, no handle on the inside. A steel bunk, a metal toilet, and walls so close you can touch both sides without stretching. This is where Charles Manson lived, where Richard Ramirez plotted, where 737 men currently wait on death row, some for over 20 years. The rules that keep you breathing. Survival in San Quentin isn't about being tough, it's about understanding the invisible rules that govern every second. Race determines everything: where you sit, who you talk to, which shower you use. The Aryan Brotherhood controls the whites, Mexican Mafia runs the Hispanics, Black Guerrilla Family oversees African Americans. Cross those lines and you won't make it to breakfast. The dining hall splits into territories more defended than war zones. In 2018 alone, 140 fights erupted over seating. One man died because he sat at the wrong table. Another got shanked for reaching across racial boundaries to grab salt. The food itself becomes secondary to the politics of eating it. You learn fast. Stick to your own, keep your head down, eat quick, get out. Morning starts at 5 a.m. with metal banging and guards counting heads. Miss roll call once, you're written up. Miss it twice, solitary confinement. 300 inmates sat in isolation in 2020, locked in concrete boxes 23 hours a day. Some emerged unable to speak, others never emerged at all. 15 death row inmates killed themselves rather than wait for execution, choosing their own ending over California's timeline. The yard isn't freedom, it's a battlefield with invisible borders. Gangs control sections like medieval kingdoms. Step into the wrong zone without permission, and you're declaring war. In 2019 alone, there were 600 documented stabbings. That's nearly 2 people bleeding out every single day. Weapons get crafted from anything. Toothbrushes filed to points, metal torn from beds, glass from broken lights. Guards found 1,200 contraband cell phones in 1 year, most used to coordinate attacks from inside. The death machine's dark history. San Quentin opened in 1854. Built by prisoners who sailed to their own imprisonment. Since then, it's executed 422 people and broken thousands more. Early inmates faced whippings, ice water torture, and public humiliation. Crowds of over 1,000 people would gather to watch hangings like entertainment. The prison literally sold tickets to executions. Then came the gas chamber in 1938, tested first on a pig that took 37 minutes to die. The screaming haunted guards for weeks. Alfred Wells helped build that chamber, thinking he'd earned favor with authorities. Years later, after release and more murders, he died in the same chamber he'd constructed. He literally built his own death machine, hammering nails into wood that would hold the chair where he'd take his last breath. By 2015, death row housed 737 condemned souls, more than anywhere in the Western Hemisphere. These men lived in cells smaller than most bathrooms, allowed out just 3 hours weekly. Some waited 25 years for execution dates that never came. The psychological torture of waiting to die broke minds faster than any physical punishment. Guards reported inmates talking to walls, creating imaginary families, forgetting their own names. One executioner claimed he heard voices after every execution, whispers from the gas chamber that followed him home. He ended up in a psychiatric ward, convinced the prison had infected his soul. Another guard, after 30 years of service, said the evil inside San Quentin spreads like disease, that prolonged exposure rots you from inside. These aren't ghost stories, they're documented in prison records. When disease became another executioner, COVID-19 hit San Quentin like biological warfare. In 2020, the virus infected 2,100 inmates in overcrowded cells where social distancing meant death by stabbing instead. 28 prisoners died gasping for air while locked in cages. The medical ward overflowed into hallways. Bodies stayed in cells for hours because staff were too sick to move them. 200 staff members caught the virus. 2 died. Lawsuits revealed the administration knew about infection risks, but transferred infected inmates anyway, spreading death throughout the facility. Survivors described watching cellmates suffocate inches away, unable to help, unable to escape. The prison became a tomb where men died not from execution or violence, but from negligence and overcrowding. The trauma changed even hardened killers. Gang leaders who'd ordered dozens of murders broke down crying, begging for medical attention that never came. The virus didn't care about reputation or gang affiliation. It killed randomly, adding another layer of terror to an already nightmarish existence. Some inmates said COVID was worse than death row. At least execution had dignity and process. Before the pandemic, violence statistics were already staggering. 600 stabbings annually, 1,400 gang members running shadow governments, 3,700 inmates crammed into space for 3,000. Tensions that high don't need much spark to explode. A wrong look in the shower could mean a shank between ribs. Refusing to join a gang meant becoming everyone's target. The programs that offer false hope. San Quentin advertises rehabilitation programs like Their Salvation. The Prison University Project helped 200 inmates earn degrees by 2020. Another 4,500 took college courses, studying in cells where screams interrupted lectures. Mount Tamalpais College opened the first campus inside prison walls, offering associate degrees to men who might never use them. The GRIP program, Guiding Rage into Power, enrolled over 1,000 inmates trying to control violence that put them here. Some succeeded. Kenyatta Leal got out and landed a tech job, becoming the poster child for redemption. But for every success story, hundreds fail. The rage doesn't disappear, it just hides better. Programs can't erase what made these men killers. Physical fitness becomes religion inside. 1,500 inmates hit the weight pile daily, not for health, but for intimidation. Weakness invites predation. Some push through 500 burpees daily, building armor from muscle. 400 practice yoga, trying to quiet minds that replay their crimes endlessly. But meditation can't silence the screaming at night, or the sound of shanks entering flesh. Johnny Cash played here in 1969, bringing momentary humanity to inhuman conditions. For 2 hours, killers and rapists became an audience, not inmates. Music penetrated walls that kept everything else out. But when the last note faded, the chains returned. The concert became legend, not because it changed anything, but because it proved nothing could change San Quentin. The invisible tortures. Beyond physical violence lies psychological warfare that breaks men without touching them. Solitary confinement, renamed administrative segregation for legal comfort, holds prisoners 23 hours daily in windowless boxes. Fluorescent lights burn constantly, meals slide through slots. Human contact disappears except for guards checking you haven't killed yourself. 300 inmates experienced this in 2020. Some emerged unable to form sentences. Others developed severe paranoia, convinced guards poisoned their food. The silence becomes so oppressive that men scream just to hear something. One inmate described counting concrete blocks repeatedly for 16 hours straight because it was the only activity available. Another forgot his children's names after 2 years in isolation. The general population isn't much better. Privacy doesn't exist. Toilets face bunks in cells holding 2 men who might be strangers or enemies. Changing clothes means exposing vulnerability. Sleeping means trusting your cellmate won't kill you for snoring too loud. One prisoner stayed awake for 4 days straight, terrified his new cellmate was planning murder. He was right. Guards found a sharpened toothbrush under the other man's mattress. Letters from outside become lifelines worth killing for. Some inmates haven't received mail in decades, forgotten by families who moved on. Others get letters from children who don't remember them, asking why daddy can't come home. The emotional torture of reading those words while surrounded by concrete might be worse than any physical pain. Guards report finding suicide notes that just say, "I'm already dead anyway." Why nobody truly escapes. Only 7 successful escapes in 170 years tells you everything about San Quentin's grip. Those who physically left often returned voluntarily, unable to function outside after institutionalization. The prison doesn't just hold bodies. It reprograms minds until freedom becomes more terrifying than captivity. Released inmates describe recurring nightmares decades later. The sound of metal doors slamming wakes them in suburban homes. They arrange furniture against walls, unable to sleep with their backs exposed. Some can't eat in restaurants because sitting with strangers triggers survival instincts. The prison follows you home, lives in your head, turns freedom into another form of imprisonment. Current inmates know this. They watch lifers who've spent 40 years inside, men who no longer remember life before walls. These ghosts shuffle through routines, dead-eyed and automatic. They've survived by disappearing inside themselves, becoming hollow enough that violence passes through without stopping. Young inmates see their future in these walking corpses and realize some fates are worse than death. San Quentin isn't just America's most feared prison. It's a factory that manufactures broken humans. It takes criminals and produces either corpses or monsters. The lucky ones die quickly. The unlucky ones survive, carrying San Quentin's poison into whatever life remains. Every person inside knows the truth. You don't beat this place. You either die here or die carrying it with you forever. The walls aren't just concrete and steel. They're built from accumulated suffering that seeps into souls and never ever lets go. Would you survive even one night in San Quentin, knowing that 2 people get stabbed every single day and gang membership is the only protection? Share your thoughts below about America's most feared prison, and subscribe to see more dark realities hiding inside the world's most dangerous places.